Hey, Broken World Entertainment, and in this video we're going to take a look at the brand new Taylor Sheridan series on Paramount Plus, Special Ops Lioness. This show stars Zoe Saldana as Jo and Nicole Kidman. So the series follows Jo, and here's a breakdown of what the series is. Jo attempts to balance her personal and professional life as the tip of the CIA's spear in the war of terror. The Lioness program enlists crews to operate undercover alongside Jo among the power brokers of state terrorism. So the show opens up with Jo at a camp in the desert that becomes under attack. She gets a phone call from an asset. The asset has been discovered thanks to a cross on her side, a tattoo. Jo tries to get her team to go on a rescue mission, but they come under heavy attack and can't get to her operative. As a result, Jo gives the order to launch a missile on the compound to which the asset and the terrorists are being held. In doing so, she kills the asset, returns home, and now must recruit someone new, which is when we meet Cruz, who's working in a fast food restaurant, who on her trip home you realise she's part of what appears to be gangs. Her boyfriend beats her and treats her very poorly and allows everyone else to do so as well. It also appears that he met her while she was a stripper, but now she's trying to make an honest living. She wakes up in the morning after being beaten by the boyfriend to hit him with a frying pan and run. She's trying to look for help, and she ends up running into the only door that's open, and it happens to be the Marines recruiting office. In doing so, she enlists in the Marines, goes through vigorous training, and gets chosen by the military to go and work for Jo with the CIA, as her score marks are the highest of anyone they've seen in her category. Jo enlists Cruz and then puts her into torture training, unbeknownst to Cruz. They also sent her on the mission to get close to one of the main terrorists' wives, to which she forms a relationship, very brief, that we see. So there's only 2 episodes as of right now of this series, and these are my overall thoughts on the 2 episodes. To start with, it's very, very slow. That's not a good thing, it's not a terrible thing, but there's no real character building in how slow it is with anyone other than the character of Cruz. The other issue is the dates given. You are given one date and it doesn't line up with where the show ends up. As I said, we open with Zoe Saldana's character Jo on a mission to where she loses an asset. We immediately go back 4 years to Cruz working at the fast food restaurant. From there, we are constantly moving from Jo to Cruz to Jo to Cruz, with no indication of where we are in the time. She's all of a sudden being recruited, but we've just met her and it said it was 4 years prior to Jo losing her asset. So the timing is all over the place. We're not given an indication how long Cruz was training. And Zoe Saldana's character is constantly home, then she's away. She's in a different country like Abu Dhabi, then all of a sudden she's in Washington. it's kind of all over the place. It's a very mixed bag. There's no humor or anything in this show. It's very serious, quite dark at times. Jo's life is a mess. Her husband is a surgeon who's constantly being called in for surgeries. They have 2 children, one of which loves the 2 of them. The other is becoming very antisocial, getting into fights in school, doesn't like Jo, hates when she's home, and he even goes as far to have an argument with her father when she gets suspended from school for beating another girl by telling him, "I can't have this conversation with a white man." Jo's husband, of course, is white, to which his response is to get incredibly angry because his day started with him having to tell the parents of a 6-year-old that their child has a tumour on the brain that he wouldn't recommend trying to remove, which only gives the child a few months to live, or tried the surgery, which means the child would lose an eye, as well as possibly dying on the operating table. The relationship between Jo and Neil, which is the husband, is strained at the best of times, but then also seems to be very loving at times. So again, their relationship, you're not quite sure how they're trying to structure it, because they're showing you they're kind of at odds, at the same time showing you they're very much in love. Cruz is going above and beyond to try and prove herself that she's not weak after being beaten by her boyfriend for so long. Jo is told by Nicole Kidman's character, who is her boss in the CIA, to make sure that her new assets have no distinctive markings that can give them away, as Jo didn't do her due diligence, which led to the other girl having a tattoo of a cross that she didn't know about. So she makes Cruz strip, and as she's checking for marks for any visible tattoos, she discovers Cruz has been tortured by her boyfriend, as she's covered in cigarette burns and whip marks on her back, which was used with paracord. So overall, the show establishes that Cruz is tough. She can take the pain. Jo is very complicated, has a complicated relationship with her family, a complicated relationship with her job, seeing as she doesn't want to lose assets, but she's also willing to make the sacrifice of them. All in all, the show, as I said, is incredibly slow, and the structure of the story is a bit messy. Compared to other Taylor Sheridan shows, this one would probably be ranked in the lower end of things. I'm not sure how many episodes there actually is in total of this series, but there's only 2 episodes currently out. Would I recommend them? Not quite. I wouldn't tell you not to watch it, but I wouldn't be recommending this show. Currently, with 2 episodes in, I'd probably give this show a 4 out of 10. It might pick up, but only time will tell. So with that, I'll leave it there for this one. So cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.